Are you looking for the best Bluetooth speakers? In this video we will look at some of the 4 best speakers on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. Ultimate Ears Wonderboom 4. Among all the speakers I've tested, none have impressed me quite as much as the Wonderboom 4, mainly owing to the quality of sound it's able to produce in such a small package. It's about the size of a small candle and can easily fit into a backpack, carry-on, or even a tote, yet it's loud enough to hear from across my living room, all the way into my kitchen. Pairing is simple. All you have to do is hold the pairing button and it shows up in your phone or tablet's Bluetooth menu right away. It will connect immediately when powered back on. You can easily pair 2 Wonderbooms together for a stereo experience with a couple button pushes. At louder levels, usually around 80% or higher, sounds can start to get muddled, especially with genres like hip-hop or metal. I tested with Lil Wayne's The Carter 2 and Lamb of God's Sacrament, and the vocals can drown out instrumentals. It's not enough to detract from how good the Wonderboom sounds, though. When kept below the threshold, songs sound as clear and vibrant as on other UE speakers such as the Boom. As for podcasts and audiobooks, I was able to play those at louder volumes without audio quality suffering, and could hear them over the water running as I washed my dishes. The Wonderboom 4 is larger than the JBL Clip 5, so it's slightly less portable, and its elastic loop is less effective than the Clip 5's metal clasp for attaching it to things, but the speaker also produces clearer sound, likely owing to its larger size. To test its IP67 rating, I dropped the Wonderboom into a pool of water in my sink 3 times while playing music. The music sounded muffled and quite terrible at first, but once the water dripped out, the speaker was back to sounding good as new. You absolutely should not try this, but know that if you're using this as your pool party speaker, it's safe. It has a plastic door that covers the charging port when not in use to prevent water from sneaking in and mucking things up. It's rugged enough to withstand being carried with you on your next vacation, or just getting moved from room to room. The Wonderboom 4 is the most portable speaker I've tested that gets closest to the sound quality of bigger speakers, like the Pulse 5. It's quite similar to our previous best Bluetooth speaker overall, the Wonderboom 3. Its sound is nearly identical, and the design hasn't changed. The biggest improvement is the switch from micro USB to USB-C, which will make the Wonderboom 4 easier to travel with if you have a phone or laptop that charges over USB-C, as most do these days. For this model, Ultimate Ears also added a podcast mode to the equalizer, and while it did make voices sound more crisp, I didn't find the difference noticeable enough to change modes when listening to audiobooks or podcasts. At number 2. JBL Clip 5. Most of these Bluetooth speakers are portable, but the Clip 5 is the most travel-friendly I've tested thanks to the built-in eponymous clip that lets you attach it to nearly anything, including a bike basket or shower head. The speaker has rubber ribs on the back that allow you to place it on smooth surfaces without having to worry about it sliding all over the place, helpful since it can't stand upright like the other speakers I've tested. The speaker is waterproof and dustproof, and it can withstand a few knocks against a hard surface. It's easy to underestimate the sound quality of a speaker as small as the Clip 5. In my testing, it managed to sound clear and vibrant even with outdoor sounds like waves and wind in the background. In the shower, podcasts were easy to hear over the water, and I never had to blast it to full volume just to catch what someone said. Over a couple weeks of testing, I was able to get about 12 hours of battery life out of the Clip 5. My only gripe with the Clip 5 is that, unlike the Clip 4, the buttons for turning the device on and off and pairing to other devices aren't raised buttons. That makes them harder to operate if you can't see them, like when the speaker is clipped behind a shower head. The buttons for play/pause and volume are all raised and are on the front of the speaker, so they're easy to see and access, but I wish that were true of all the buttons. At number 3. Sonos Move 2. The Sonos Move 2 is the best sounding Bluetooth speaker I use on a regular basis. It's significantly larger than even the UE Megaboom, though much smaller than the JBL Boombox, so you probably won't want to take it with you on your weekend getaway, but it's still small enough to carry from room to room, and the built-in handle lets you do so easily. I'm also impressed that, unlike nearly every other speaker I've tested, the Move 2 has a removable battery, which should make it straightforward to replace. While the Move 2 is pricier than similar-size speakers like the JBL Pulse 5, its sound is unmatched. The bass is loud and powerful, vocals sound crisp, and everything sounds clear even at full volume. The Move 2 has all of Sonos' smart features, like multi-speaker pairing and adaptive audio, altering the sound to fit your room, and can easily be controlled and adjusted from within the Sonos app. It also has direct Amazon Alexa integration, so you can use it as your main smart speaker, and AirPlay integration that lets you stream directly from your Apple devices without having to pair over Bluetooth. Given its name, it's no surprise that the Move 2 is so easy to lug around, but its charging method isn't quite as mobile. Instead of using a simple charging cable like most companies, Sonos gave the Move 2 a docking station, which is basically a ring that you plop the bottom of the speaker into when it needs to charge. With an IP rating of IP56, it's not as protected from the elements as the Pulse 5 or the Megaboom, but it's still protected from heavy jets of water, so it should be safe from some raindrops, but not from a drop in the pool. At number 4. JBL Authentics 300. For those who talk to their speakers as much as they listen, JBL's Authentics 300 speaker balances functionality, good looks, and quality sound in a relatively portable design. It's bigger than every other speaker we recommend, aside from JBL's boombox, but that also gives it louder sound, and the included handle makes it easy to tote around the house, but note that it weighs nearly 11 pounds. That handle is easier to grip than the one on the Move 2, though given the Authentics' larger size, the Move 2 is easier to take with you when you leave the house. Of the speakers I've tested, this one's classy 70s style makes the Authentics 300 one of my favorites to display. The front of the speaker is covered in a patterned fabric that's reminiscent of JBL's classic L100 bookshelf speaker, and the top has 3 large knobs you can turn to control the volume, as well as the speaker's treble and bass levels. Each knob has an LED that wraps around the dial and lights up to indicate the current levels for each toggle. The controls on the 300 are more fun to play with than the clicky buttons of the Wonderboom 4 and Clip 5, but I prefer the dials on the Teenage Engineering OB4 of all the speaker controls I've tried. The sound on the Authentics 300 is loud and impressive. While blasting music at 80% volume from my living room, I could hear it from across my 3-bedroom home, and in some cases, podcasts were discernible as well. Given its size, it makes sense that the speaker is louder than the Move 2 or Pulse 5, but I've been impressed with how clear the sound remains, even at high volumes. The speaker's defining feature is its ability to connect to both Google Assistant and Alexa. I've found that Alexa is better for controlling smart home gear like light bulbs and robot vacuums, but I prefer Google Assistant for asking general questions and getting info about the weather. While alternating between the assistants in succession, responses were as quick as they are with a dedicated smart speaker like the Echo Dot or Nest Hub. The Authentics also has an Ethernet port if you want to make sure it has a reliable internet connection. On the other hand, if you want to disable this speaker's smart features altogether, there's a switch to turn off the microphone on the back, which is not something many speakers with microphones offer. Unfortunately, unlike most speakers we recommend, the Authentics 300 doesn't have any official IP rating, so I wouldn't recommend bringing this speaker anywhere it might get wet.